a few badges in the motor world that are unmistakable. For example, if you see the name Carrera, you know it's attached to a car that supposedly has the engine in the wrong place but is one of the best cars in the world. If you see the name Vogue, you know that car is crammed full of luxury and will go just about anywhere you want it to go. But the name GTI isn't always attached to a Golf. In fact, it might even be on a car that's not even made by Volkswagen. In fact, the GTI badge is a bit of a slapper. It's been on everything from a Nissan Almera to a Maserati, but it's always meant one thing: performance. South Africa loves the VW version, but Peugeot also have one, and that's what we have here, the 308 GTI. There are a few things needed for the GTI recipe, and one is that it should be a hatchback, and they got that right. The 308 is already a good-looking thing, and to turn it into a hot hatch version, Peugeot have made some subtle changes. In front there's the chrome grille, and at the back there's a rear wing and twin exhaust pipes tucked into a rear diffuser. It's also been given 18-inch wheels on suspension that's 10mm lower, but the overall impression is a little underwhelming. Not good news if you're the kind of boy racer who likes everyone to see your performance credentials before you blast off from the traffic light. From the front, this sports hatch looks more stylish than aggressive, and it's only when you look at it from the back that you get a real sense of what it's about. We have a 308 diesel in the RPM long-term fleet, so we're pretty familiar with the interior, and the changes to the GTI are rather subtle. White dials, a few added silver bits, different seats, and a different steering wheel. Like the exterior, the impression is rather underwhelming. Good thing it all works properly. Works properly and is fitted with a lot of stuff. Standard spec includes just about everything from Bluetooth to a data connection for your iPod. It's got control of the cruise, dual zone, climate and park distance kind. Our test car is fitted with an observatory-approved glass roof, which, despite letting in enough South African sun to make things a little uncomfortable, is an immensely impressive piece of engineering. Those seats I mentioned aren't the deepest buckets in the world, but they do a good job of holding you in place, and when you read the spec sheet, you get the impression you're going to need it. Recently on RPM we featured Peugeot's RCZ with its very impressive 1600 twin-scroll turbo motor, and that's what we have here. 147 kilowatts, 275 newton meters, a 0 to 100 time of 7.7 seconds, and a top speed of 237 kilometers an hour. And those are exactly the kinds of figures a hot hatch needs in order to be taken seriously. It wasn't too long ago that an output of 140 plus kilowatts was the strict preserve of 2-litre turbo motors, which makes the efforts of this little power plant even more impressive. The only other engine I can think of that's about equal in the output stakes is the one in Mini's mighty John Cooper Works, and that took some serious tweaking. The 308 is just as good and a little bit more refined. Put your foot down and enjoy the almost instant shove that lasts all the way up to the red line. It is quick, this car. In fact, it feels quicker than the figures suggest. It is really good, as long as you keep going in a straight line. But of course, with roads being the inconvenient things they are, sooner rather than later you'll have to turn. This GTI does turn, but it doesn't give you any joy doing it. The suspension has been stiffened, the dampers have been uprated, but the whole setup feels too soft. The electro-hydraulic steering system has been tweaked for the performance bent of this car, but it still feels too over-assisted. Which is fine at low speed, but as soon as you start cornering hard, you lose a sense of what the front wheels are actually doing. That's assuming you get to corner hard before the electronics step in and cut the power. After a while in the GTI, you kind of start wishing it would understeer or torque steer or just do anything to let you know that the front end is actually working. But you never do. I was too scared to switch off the electronics in here. God alone knows what the steering would do if left totally at the mercy of the driver. Well, the French probably know too, but they're not saying. And things aren't much better with the gear shift either. The action of the 6-speed manual is good enough, but the clutch takes so late that it feels like there's an intermission between each cog swap. No, as far as the nameplate goes, this GTI has let the family down. Unless, of course, you don't mind not keeping up with the Joneses, because that car is still decent value at under 300,000 Rand. The other GTI is 30,000 Rand more, and that's without a single option. But if your driving skills extend to going fast in a straight line, and your idea of driving fun is racing robot to robot, then the Peugeot 308 GTI might just be the car for you. For the rest of us, it's cheap thrills. It's fitted with a 1600 petrol that's helped by a turbo, and the engine in the 308 GTI is a very easy thing to enjoy. It's a good-looking and well-kitted out machine, but it's not the best option in dynamic terms. With steering that's too light, suspension that's too numb, and gear shifts that aren't quick enough, this GTI will have to rely on its price tag to win fans.